Hi, my name is Danny Coyne. I'm with BCFish'n.com. Today we're out here at Osoyoos, located in the most beautiful southern Okanagan Valley of British Columbia. Now, Osoyoos isn't just known for its incredible wineries, orchards, exciting water sports, not to mention its awesome summertime warm climate, but it is also known as one of the best bass fisheries in the entire Pacific Northwest. Now today, I'm here with fellow BC Fish'n team member and Cabela's Pro staff, Matt Benson. So Matt, let's talk about this for a bit. What is it that you think that makes this bass fishery such an incredible fishery that attracts anglers from all over the Pacific Northwest to come to Osoyoos?
Well, Danny, there's really two factors. The first factor is the season. The season's open 365 days a year here, so that allows you to fish bass pre-spawn, spawn, post-spawn. This makes it very unique because a lot of other places in Canada and the Pacific Northwest, the season's either closed during that time of year or they're under ice.
Right.
The second factor is the huge size of fish in this lake. Other places in Ontario, the fish are under ice, the growing season's very short. Pacific Northwest, Idaho, Washington, they get ice. We've got the benefit here in the Okanagan, these lakes really don't freeze over.
Right.
So the fish have a lot longer growing season than they do in other parts of the Pacific Northwest and the country.
So Matt, when you say average size fish, what are we talking here? 1 pound, 2 pounds?
Well, Danny, you're looking at for smallmouth, you're looking at about 2.5 pounds. For largemouth, you're looking at about 3 pounds. Just due to the fact there's not quite as many largemouth in the lake, so on average, they're a little bit larger size. But even with the nice 2.5 pound average, don't be fooled. There is monsters in this lake. We've seen 8 pounds smallmouth come out of this lake in the last couple of years. There was just actually an event here a week or so ago, and the largest fish weighed in was 512 smallmouth. So there's some really monster fish in this lake.
Wow, that sounds like a really great time for everyone to come. You know, that definitely makes them worthwhile to come all the way to Osoyoos. So when we're talking about the lake, what are we doing? Are we talking, we're fishing it from boats? Are we fishing it from shore? Or can you do both?
Well, Danny, there's definitely two options. We can fish it from a boat, like say, we're out here today. We fished out of a 14-foot aluminum boat, little Minn Kota trolling motor on the back. Was able to fish no problem. But if you don't have the luxury of having a boat, you can fish off the bridge. There's some shore spots by the bridge you can fish off of. So it has easy access no matter if you're fishing from a boat or if you're fishing from shore.
And you know, one of the other things I really liked about Osoyoos, and one of my favorite things about this lake, is the accessibility. You're talking about shore fishing, absolutely, all around the lake, but there's also really great facilities like boat launch in town. It's an incredible boat launch. It has a ton of parking, and not to mention, because this lake gets a little bit of wind, it is so sheltered in, it makes it a really easy job to launch your boat. So Matt, when we get to Osoyoos Lake, how do we go about targeting these bass?
Well, Danny, Osoyoos isn't really the biggest size lake, but it is decent size. Like, right. It can kick up. When you come to a lake like Osoyoos, you definitely want to break it down. To make it simpler, find out where the fish are, right?
Yeah.
So 5 of the areas I always like to target when I come to a new lake are docks, weed lines, bridges, rocky points, and drop-offs.
Okay, so let's look at what are the specific methods that we're going to use when we go for, like, let's talk about docks. When you say docks, we're talking, there's not a lot of structure on the shorelines of Osoyoos Lake, but there's a ton of docks that we know. So how are we going to fish this dock?
Well, Danny, there's really two methods you can use for fishing docks. Like if I'm out in the main part of the lake, which is very clear, I will go to more of a Cinco style bait, which is a little small, 4-inch, all it looks like is really a pen. All you do is, this method, you skipper under docks, and it allows you to get to areas that most anglers are afraid to get into.
So when you say skip it, you're literally just going to sidearm it, skip it right in underneath that dock.
Yeah, and you know what? It might take a little bit of practice. You might get a few tangles the first couple of times.
You might lose a couple baits.
You might lose a couple baits,
yeah.
But you'd be surprised how effective it is. And once you have a little bit of practice, you can skip that 5-6 feet under the dock. No problem.
And those bass will be just sitting in there, underneath there, hiding from the sun and waiting for the lunch to come on, drop them by, right?
Oh yeah, no problem. And like you say, another popular area though on the lake is Solano Bay. Once again, a lot of docks in there. So another method you're going to use, always when I'm fishing any water that's really dirty, I like to go to a darker bait, something that really silhouettes itself. So what this is a 4-inch, just Texas rig craw, black and blue. And very simple method, and all you're going to do with this is you're just going to flip her around docks. It's going to follow the bottom, you're going to shake it a little bit, and 9 times out of 10, fish swim out, grab it, and next thing you know, you're hooked up.
So when you say Texas rig weedless. We can rig this lure to the point where we can actually cast it into big weedy areas underneath docks that have a bunch of milfoil or such, and we're not gonna have to worry about snagging those weeds because it is rigged as a Texas.
Yeah, like you can see here, your hand slides across there, no problem. You're going through weeds, rocky sections, but as soon as the fish hits and you jerk it, that point will easily expose itself into the fish's mouth.
So that'd be definitely a great method for summertime when the milfoil really starts to bloom in the lake.
Oh yeah, any milfoil, docks, anything like that, it's a very productive method.
Now I've watched you do this over and over, and I will actually call you the drop shot master because I've watched you hook so many fish by using a drop shot. And one area that we like to target is we like those drop offs and those underwater submerged humps in the water. And if I recall last summer when you and I were here, we were just slamming the bass in the middle of the lake. There's one hump underneath there. You picked it up on the sonar, and we just saw a bass stacked on there. So again, walk me through how you do this drop shot method.
Danny, the drop shot method, the one unique thing about this method is it can be fished anywhere from 1 foot of water to 40 foot of water.
Oh, that's great.
You just have to adjust your weight. So it's a very simple method. Like I said, I use it on rocky points. You can even use it around docks, weed lines, stuff like that. And what I'll usually do is I'll cast it out, I'll let the weight sit on bottom, and then all I will do is I will just sort of shake the rod tip just enough to get that worm twitching right in front of the fish's mouth. And that is definitely, when that worm is sitting there, they can't resist. It is a very hard bait for them to resist. Plus, you always have contact with the bottom.
Right. Hey, I'll tell you right now, if you put a slice of pizza in front of my face and start flipping it in front of my face, I'm gonna probably take a bite too.
And the thing is, a lot of people think this is only a smallmouth presentation, but as you remember, last summer we were out here, got almost an 8-pound largemouth, flipping some bridges.
Hey, and I remember that
the
bridge.
drop
was
shot,
fun,
right?
Boat control, but it was a lot of fun. I mean,
Yeah.
That's a perfect. That fish was a perfect example of why people come to Osoyoos Lake. That was pushing well over 8 pounds.
Oh yeah, that's definitely the biggest largemouth that I've ever caught, for sure.
Excellent. Now I heard a lot of people that call it's that cranky time of year, and that's they're using something called an attractant bait or a reaction bait.
Yeah, a lot of times, like when you come to a new lake and you're really trying to cover a lot of water very quickly, one of the best methods is a reaction bait. So we got a spinner bait right here, and this is basically you know what? You tried some of the other baits, the fish aren't really taken. This, you sort of just burn it by them, and what it does is it just almost makes them really mad and frustrated, and they will just basically hit out of anger. They might not be hungry, but they're going to hit out of anger when you throw a spinnerbait. So a spinnerbait's a popular one. A couple different crankbaits.
Oh, the crankbait, that's my favorite. I will say I'm definitely a crankbait fisherman. I like to cast it out and really burn that back, get that crankbait really bouncing off structure on the bottom. And hey, I mean, last summer I nailed a couple of fish. Just, this past week, I was able to actually get on some really good sized fish on that using that crankbait system.
Well, Danny, a lot of the locals, that's what they use. They really like the crankbait. You can fish it fast, you can cover a lot of water, and you know what? A lot of the active fish will hit that. Like, you've been trying and trying and trying, go to reaction bait. Get out there, cast around the shorelines, rocky structures, docks, stuff like that. It'll definitely help you put more fish in the boat for you.
So we've gone through and covered on how to target this lake and the methods to use when you're fishing for these bass. But let's talk about when you get here and the accommodations that are available to all of us anglers. We have immense amount of options when it comes to camping, from Haynes Point to Incaneep, and let's not forget the incredible hotels and motels in the valley. Now, our most favorite place to stay while we're in Osoyoos is the Watermark Resort. They have the most incredible staff with the warmest welcome, incredible large suites with full amenities. I mean, our suite was 2 bedrooms, full living room, which is really great, Matt, because we were able to all stay together.
Oh, Danny, no, it's an amazing place. The amenities in the room are excellent. Another thing, a couple things I like really about the Watermark are the fact they got a saltwater pool, an amazing restaurant, a huge Okanagan wine list, and you know how people love their Okanagan wine.
Absolutely.
And one of the things I really like is the spa, because if the girls don't want to go out fishing with us for the day, we can send them off to the spa. We won't feel guilty about it.
And let's not forget to mention, it's right around the corner from our favorite watering hole,
The Owl Pub.
I mean, the Owl Pub has a great selection of draft beer on tap, nightly specials as well. They also have a lot of great live music we found out on Thursday, and we're catching the big fight this Saturday on the pay-per-view. For more information about fishing in Osoyoos, please check out destinationosoyoos.com. Enjoy Canada's warmest welcome, and we'll see you out on the water.